Welcome back to Face the State. One of the longest-serving Connecticut Supreme Court justices in state history is retiring. Richard Palmer was appointed to the High Court by Governor Lowell Weicker way back in 1993. He's joining us now. And Justice Palmer, good morning. Thanks for being with us here today.
Good morning. Thank you, Dennis.
1993 seems like ancient history, doesn't it, when you look back at it? You turned 70 years old this week. We all know that because it's state law that you must retire. So I want to ask you this question first. Donald Trump turned 75 in the year 2021. So does Richard Blumenthal. We have some other dates for you. Elizabeth Warren will be turning 72, Joe Biden 79, and yet they make judges retire at age 70. Do you think that's too young?
Well, it's a constitutional requirement, Dennis, and for better or for worse, the framers decided that that was the way to go. And maybe it is too young, but I certainly can't complain. I've been on the court for so long that it's time for me to move aside and let somebody else have a chance.
Yeah, but you're young, you're still athletic, you go out and you play sports. Do you believe that you could still work if you wanted to?
Oh, yeah, I do. In fact, my plan is to continue to work as a judge trial referee and sit on the appellate court and in the trial court, wherever I may be needed.
So much has changed in the 27 years since you've been on this court. We used to have a death penalty. Gay marriage became legal. So many things changed during your tenure. What do you think your legacy will be?
Oh, I don't know. I was on the court for a long time, and I was involved in a significant number of important cases, including the gay marriage case and the death penalty case, and more recently the Remington case involving the Sandy Hook victims. I don't know what my legacy will be, other than I feel really honored to have had this opportunity and blessed, and tried my best at all times not to betray the trust that Governor Weicker showed in me.
In your judgment, what's the biggest case that you presided over?
Probably the gay marriage case, in terms of its social impact. The death penalty case was significant as well. Both, in different ways, I would say were significant, but both were, difficult, close cases, closely decided cases. And, it was really an opportunity of a lifetime to be able to sit and participate in those.
Looking back at the last 27 years, is there a case out there that's always stuck in your mind and you say to yourself, I wish I could have a redo?
There are a number of cases, I think, that fall into that category. In fact, I've been on the court so long, Dennis, that I actually had the opportunity on one or two occasions to do that redo. And we reversed ourselves in due course. Nothing of the magnitude of the gay marriage case or the death penalty case, but by and large, I think most of us sort of think about moving forward, and when we're asked to reconsider a case, we certainly do, but we don't think as much about the cases that have already decided as much as we do the cases that we need to decide in the future.
Which cases are not decided that you sort of have to pass on to your successor?
Well, actually, I'm going to continue to sit on the cases that were heard before I turned 70. So, I do have the opportunity to do that. And I know the court is sitting in the next week or two, and so I won't be sitting on those cases. It'll be a change for me to be absent from those, and I'll miss it. But my colleagues are an exceptional group of people.
So just to clarify, a case that you already started working on, you will be allowed to sit on that as a justice through its completion.
Yes, exactly. And these cases, they may not all be resolved for several more months.
Let's talk about, let's go back to that day in 1993 when you were first asked to be on the Supreme Court. What went through your mind?
Well, then Governor Weicker actually asked me if I was interested in being on the Supreme Court. One day we were playing tennis, and it came totally as a surprise to me. I thought he was kidding, or I didn't think he was serious. And so later on that day, he called me, and I went to see him at his office, and he indicated he was serious. And I told him I needed to think about it for perhaps a day. I called him back a couple hours later, and I said I would be delighted to do it, and I was honored. I don't regret it in any sense. It's really been just an incredible experience, and as I say, extremely honored to have been able to do it.
When we go back to 1993, there was really no internet. Cell phones were rare. So now the job of a justice has certainly changed. You have all these resources at your fingertips. What else has changed over the 27 years that you were there?
I think the court is more diverse now than it was back then. I think we have younger members on the court. I was really rather young when I was appointed, but the majority of people back then on the court were closer to my age now. I think that's a very good thing. I think, unfortunately, our opinions are a little bit longer than they used to be. And one reason for that, I think, is because we have the resources are so much at our fingertips that it's easy for us to, exhaust sort of every resource out there. Otherwise, in terms of the manner in which cases are decided and the seriousness of the judges, that really hasn't changed at all.
Are there any changes to the judicial system that you would recommend be made in the future?
There have been a fair number, over the years, obviously, and I think that one that is on everybody's mind right now is how to perform when necessary, as it is now, remotely. And we on the appellate court and the Supreme Court have been doing that for the last 6 weeks or so, hearing cases remotely and deciding them in due course, even though people were by and large working at home. And it's a bigger challenge in the Superior Court, but I know that they're working on that as well and are in a position to do more of that. And
what's your advice to Governor Lamont for picking your successor? What would you tell him if he asked?
Oh, I wouldn't be so presumptuous as to give him any advice. I'm sure he'll make an excellent pick. There are a number of people out there, quite a number, who are very well qualified, and I think would enjoy doing it and would do a great job. So I'm going to duck that question if you don't mind.
That's quite all right. There are a lot of old oil paintings in the beautiful Supreme Court building of people who've come before you. Do you see yourself as a historic figure because you've served for 27 years? That's a long time.
No, not historic at all. I mean, I just I don't see myself in that way. I just tried to do the best I could every day, and I tried to really make sure that I was cognizant of the fact that it was such a fortunate thing for me to be able to do this. That whatever little I was able to accomplish, was a delight. And however I'm judged in the future, that'll be up to someone else.
Richard Palmer from the Connecticut Supreme Court. Best of luck in your retirement. Happy birthday, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much, Dennis. I appreciate it. Stay safe.
We thank you for watching Face the State on this Sunday. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you back here in the news tomorrow. Bye-bye.